Hey guys, you want to generate more power and depth on your shots? Stay tuned until the end of this video. A lot of you ask me, how can I generate easy power on my forehand? My balls are going too short, my opponents are attacking me, and I'm trying to hit it stronger and stronger and get the depth that I want, but it's not going anywhere, okay? And that is because the power and the depth, they don't come from effort, they come from technique, they come from extension, what's happening before and what's happening after the swing, okay? So when you have that down, you'll be able to hit deep without any problems, be able to hurt your opponent without actually doing that much effort, which is what we want. So sometimes when we want to get the power and we want to reach the depth, what happens is that I'll see a lot of people force the shot and just try to sort of force the shot in this motion instead of extending, instead of going through the ball and extending. Sometimes they're trying to accelerate really fast, but they don't realize that they're coming right up on the ball instead of going through it to reach the depth that they want, okay? So even when they try to, sometimes because they're so used to just lifting up really quickly on the contact, even when they try to, it's still sort of unnatural for some of these players to do that. And usually when players want to be consistent, they try to overspin the shot sometimes, and the ball stops to go through the court, okay? I've seen a lot of juniors, a lot of adults have this issue, and they have decent shots, but they're not really going through the court. So the first step in order to reach the power that we're trying to get is the acceleration, right? Over here, and the moment the racket starts to go down in this motion, this right here, from here to here, is the acceleration part. That has to be really good for you to generate easy power. If you're just sort of hitting the ball without that loose wrist, the ball is not going to go with easy power, even if you're doing a good job extending, even if you're doing a good job setting up here. If you don't have a loose wrist here and this is not happening pretty quickly on the ball, this motion right here, then you're not going to get the easy power that you're looking for. So in order to work on that, we're going to do a few exercises in a little bit, but basically you want to make sure that the wrist, you're holding the racket pretty loose so that this is happening, okay? This is happening right here. All right, so we're gonna get under the ball here and move the racket through the ball, okay? But it's very important that we have it sort of like when you're sort of warming up. Look, on my wrist, I'm just rolling around. Now, okay, I have my forehand grip and I do this motion here. That is how it's gonna drop. We're gonna have it here, and that is the motion we want to have for easy and loose wrist, okay? That is the very, very important step that we need to do before we hit the ball. Sometimes people set up a little higher, set up a little lower, maybe take the racket a little more here, take it more on the side, but that always has to happen in order to have good power and develop a good forehand. Now, an exercise that you can do to make sure, or to kind of test if you're actually doing that well, you sort of start in this position from back here. Notice I'm not like this. The cap is actually facing forward, okay? And the tip of the racket is already under the ball, okay? So as we drop in this position, we're gonna go from here and we're gonna go all the way and accelerate from that position. Are you able to generate power from that position, or is the ball going straight to the net, or you're just not able to accelerate? That's the test. Because right now, from this position, I'm able to really speed up on the ball without that much effort, okay? But if you're maybe not getting the cap in this position, but maybe you have it like this, and you're trying to do it, the ball is going to go straight down. Or if you're compensating and you're trying to make it over with this position, then you're going to open the strings, and that is not the acceleration that we want. Let's take a look at it from here. We're in the position right here with the cap, right? The wrist is under, the tip of the racket is under, and we're going from here, accelerating. From here, accelerating. Okay, it should be that simple. Okay, my wrist is pretty loose, on this, doing this motion. Again, how it looks bad is when we have it without the cap and we have it like this, and then that's when it's really hard, and then we compensate by doing this, which is what we don't want. We want to make sure this position is key on the forehand. We set up here, and then as we go down, that's the position we're getting on, and every single pro you will see getting into that position, because that is the acceleration right here. Okay, that's how it looks at how when I speed up. All right, so I'm getting into that position, but obviously I'm not going to stop there. Okay, that is just an exercise that we want to do to test if you're doing a good job with your wrist position and acceleration. Now, okay, great, I'm able to generate power from there. I'm doing a good job, but maybe it looks like this. Maybe you're here and notice how my ball is still short, and even though I'm trying to really accelerate, the ball is still not going through the court. Okay, so now let's go through the second step. So now let's add the full motion. Right, we're here, we're into our position, we're going to go into that wrist motion and we're going to accelerate. Okay, perfect. I'm going to really speed up on this one. Position. Okay, but maybe when you do the full motion again, you are still hitting that ball short. Maybe you're here, everything is good, wrist is loose, but you're not going through the court quite as good as you would want. And that is because you're lifting on contact really quickly. Okay, so one more time, it will look like this, even you're trying everything correctly, lifting on contact really quickly. So you're trying to get that spin, which is good, but you're lifting up on the ball too quickly. Okay, so you're not going through it. Now, how we're gonna reach the depth without effort now is with extension. Okay, guys, that is so important. So even if you're doing everything right at the start, and if you don't have that extension, you're not gonna get that easy power and that depth that you're looking for. So that is what we're gonna talk about next. So now watch how this looks when we go on the ball, right? Which is lifting up right away for the spin. And watch how, if I'm making contact and going through the ball, look at that difference. I'm making contact. Now, this part of, I want to focus on the tip of my racket, maybe a little bit here. And after the contact, I'm going to drive that tip of the racket towards the fence. Right now, I'm sideways, but if we're going this way, I want to drive, after contact, that tip of the racket towards the fence over there. So it looks like this. Drive it, drive it, drive it, drive it, and then I land into my finish. Okay, causing a natural progression of things. So we're here, drive it towards the fence on the other side. That is what we want to focus for extension. If you've been doing it where you're lifting a little faster, you're gonna notice that the tip of the racket is just kind of doing this really quickly versus driving towards the fence in that motion. Okay, so that is key, guys. If I have extension, I have no trouble reaching depth with easy power. Notice there, I didn't even use my legs yet, and just with my arm right now, and just with basic loading with my legs here, I'm able to hit deep without any sort of trouble. Okay, so that is what we want. We want to have that easy power, effortless power, where we can do whatever we want with the ball. Now, guys, I'm going to give you an exercise that is going to help you for your extension. Okay, and what we're trying to accomplish is that we want to isolate the arm from everything else. Okay, so that we can only focus on that extension, that tip driving towards the fence. That's what we want to focus on right now. So instead of generating power right now with anything else, with the hips and with the legs, we're going to try to isolate the arm doing the right thing. Okay, so if you have a bench, or you can do this actually also on the floor, but if you have a bench, this is what we're going to do. We're going to sit at the edge of the bench, okay, trying to get that leg away. We're going to relax our wrist, and we're going to focus on extension. Notice in this position, I am not able to really use anything else other than my acceleration and my extension. So if I'm not doing that very well, this is going to be very difficult for you. Okay, and what I want is to reach depth from this sitting position right here. So what? I'm able to reach the depth. Let's take a look at a few from the side here so you can see how my racket is moving from here. Okay, so I have to do such a good job right here for that to actually happen. So if you practice that enough, you'll be able to feel like when you stand up and when you use your leg and everything goes into the shot, that is so much easier. It's like such a loose, easy power, okay? So that's sometimes how we want to work on things, isolate it a little bit so that you can get better at that specific thing and then put it all together, okay? So make sure to work on your acceleration and making sure that this is loose and this is working very good. And then make sure after that you're also extending. Okay, so it's acceleration and extension if you want to get that easy power and depth. Now this does take a lot of practice, and there's a reason why the pros are able to do it and sometimes we have a hard time doing it. Is because it's not as easy as it looks. As well, I've had many years of practice. I was a pro player myself, and so it is not easy to do. Just make sure you're getting your strokes looked at, that you have the right coaching so that you know what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and how to go about it. Okay, all right guys, thank you for watching. If you find this information useful, make sure to like this video and subscribe so I can keep making more videos like this for you guys. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure to check our description below for our coaching app, and there you can get your strokes analyzed, you can get constant feedback from us coaches, and you can really see month-to-month improvements. Also in the description you can check all of the products that I recommend and everything that I wear and use day to day. All right guys, see you soon.